Mr. Ravikumar. Let's just set this up very quickly. How would you describe the quarter that has gone by? And to your mind, what really were the highlights?
Obviously, the performance on the domestic motorcycles has been the highlight. We recorded a 23% growth in domestic motorcycles. That has played out absolutely to plan. And the domestic three-wheelers have also been doing quite well. And if you see the average realization per unit, that has smartly moved up by almost about 280 bips at about 62,000 plus type of a number. So the mix that shows very clearly the richness of the mixture, and all this has helped us to give a nice EBITDA percentage in this quarter, almost at 23% or so, near about slightly sub 23%. So that has been the highlight so far.
Okay. Mr. Ravikumar, good afternoon. This is Sonia here. Let me wish you a happy Diwali at the onset, and let me start by asking you a little bit about the export market as well, because we've seen the export market slip quite a bit this time, and you had guided for a 16 lakh unit export target by the end of the fiscal. But in the first half of the year, you've done just about 7.5 lakhs, which makes that asking rate of 4 lakh per quarter a bit tough going ahead in the remaining quarters of the year. Would you want to scale down your export guidance purely because of the pressures that we're seeing in that market?
No, honestly, I think, like you said, it looks tough, certainly, and there are lots of things which are outside of our control. As far as the annual guidance is concerned, we would like to look at it a bit later, maybe at the end of December. We are not looking at it right now. The export numbers, if you see, the first half versus second half story of the last year, we did almost about 748,000 units in H2 of last year. So whatever substantial reduction or drop in exports that you have been seeing year-on-year basis, that would end with Q2. You would see a flat or a slightly positive. We should certainly see a positive export growth coming in the exports in the second half of this current fiscal.
But Mr. Ravikumar, this is something that you've been telling us for many months now, that there will be a recovery in exports. But quarter after quarter, we are finding it very hard to see that in the numbers. You did say that you will look at the export guidance in December. What does that mean? That you will review the guidance in December, or you're not holding on to that guidance at this point?
See, I mean, honestly, as I told you in the months in the past, we have to live month by month in the export market in the given conditions, and that's why I said the annual number. For example, in the case of three-wheelers, some of the markets have started behaving okay, and more importantly, some of the newer markets have started compensating for the loss in exports in some of the traditional markets. So you will see right from October itself the three-wheeler numbers clawing back some of the losses. So we have to honestly see this for a couple of more months before we touch any of this guidance numbers.
Mr. Ravikumar, afternoon. This is Rima here. With a pickup in your domestic motorcycle business plus the onset of the festive season, what are domestic volumes going to look like in the quarter that we're in? In Q2, you had volumes of about 6.5 lakh units. Any sense of how Q3 numbers will look like?
You see, I'm very happy to talk about the domestic numbers now. There, in the first half, we have done good market share gain in that. Almost all the products are doing quite well. Recently, the Platina has been doing exceptionally well. But more importantly, in Q3 itself, that is in the next couple of months, we are going to see some major product initiatives from the company. The entire Pulsar range is going to get upgraded to the model year 17 Pulsars. They are going to roll out. In the very successful V platform, we are going to see the second offering that is going to come out. That will be adding a lot of impetus in that segment. And our all-new 400cc bike is going to come out also in this quarter. there's a lot of product action in this quarter, on the back of which I think our market share will further improve. And honestly, because these are, some of them are new and important launches, we would see them play out. I think our market share should improve further, and we'll have the full quarter benefit of that going forwards in Q4. So I think our exit market share should be substantially better even from where we are standing today.
So coming back to my colleague Rima's question then, you know, in the first half of the year, you've done about 12.5 lakhs of domestic motorcycles. If we go by the exact same run rate, do you think you could exit the year by about 25 lakh domestic motorcycles? Or could it be more than that?
I think we should be doing more. We should be more than that. We should certainly be more than that.
Oh, okay.
And on market share,
we should certainly be more than that because, yeah?
No, go ahead.
Market share typically we are at about 20 or so. I think we should be, exit market share should be somewhere around 23.5% at least.
Okay, that's good. But you had guided for around the same level, so I guess exit market share would be flat compared to what you had guided for earlier. You know, your peer, Hero MotoCorp, was telling us in the conference call to analysts yesterday that the second half of the year could throw up some pressure for margins because of the way commodity prices are rising, especially steel. This time around, you have done margins of about 21.3%. Do you think you could face some pressure in the second half?
I should tell you that again, the mix is going to be substantially better in our case. As it is, if you see the Pulsars have done well, Avengers have done well, Vs have done well, and in exports our focus has been to actually maintain and improve the market share while not losing on profitability, and the current currency dollar rupee rates have been holding quite okay. So I think certainly our benchmark 20% EBITDA plus, that should certainly be there in the second half as well.
How will, you know, so just to go back to that point, you have lots of new products coming up, the all-new 400cc. By the way, what is the total product development cost, sir, for the 400cc bike? And how does that compare to some new line which you usually, which is in the economy class? Yes.
No, you see, it's an all-new product, and typically a full product development and including the tooling costs, etc., will be somewhere around $6-7 million. It will be around that range if I fully load the engine cost, but there are platform synergies which are there. It should be sub that. So
the point about pushing volumes, when you launch new products, you have the help. I mean, there's that tailwind. I mean, interest and buzz around new products, and you can drive sales. But from the existing products, I mean, all OEMs have been reporting all-time high monthly sales volume numbers. But there have been some who have pointed out that while factories are pushing out more, especially in the festive season, at a retail level, things may not be all hunky-dory. You have to push it through, you have to give more discounting, etc., etc. So just tie that point in with what Sonia said earlier, that commodity prices have moved up. So you have that pressure to take maybe prices higher, but at the same time, if the market is not very recipient, will you be able to kind of manage your margins?
I think number one, we are very confident of managing the margins at that 20% plus EBITDA levels. And of course, the steel has started moving a bit up, and it is not a very big cause for alarm as far as we are concerned. And much more importantly, all the existing models, whether the CT or the Platina or the Avengers or the V15, they are all continuing to do well. Our three-wheelers, which is a very big margin contributor, that is doing exceptionally well, and we are gaining market share in that. Exports, we are realizing at 67 to $1. And going forwards, I think the mix is going to get even richer with the new Pulsars, with the 400cc, of course, and with another model coming in the V platform. And the three-wheelers, again, we think that there's going to be some benefit from some new permits which are going to open up, and the cargo is also going to gain some more market shares. But I think, you know, that's why I said 280 bips improvement in the ARPU that we have displayed in this quarter, that everything in Q3 and Q4 is going to point out to a better mix, a richer mix, and on the back of that, I think we should be quite okay as far as margins are concerned. We should be able to control and manage any cost increases that come by.
So when is the 400cc launch? I mean, all eyes are on that, but we hear from channel checks that there are some technical delays.
I don't know from where you get all these inputs, but the product is going into production from end of November. I think it'll be launched soon after that.
So would you look at cutting prices to drive export sales, purely export markets?
I think the type of impact that the currency in Nigeria and Egypt have had, I don't think it's going to be overcome by just some marginal price cuts. But in fact, in all these places, our market shares are moving up. We will open up new markets to de-risk this type of a story, and our profitability will be quite intact. Some marginal adjustments that are called for can always be made, but we will keep our eyes very sharply fixed on also the money that we make on exports.
Okay, so finally then, would you want to leave us with any kind of realistic expectation on what the end of the year could look like as far as volume growth? By the end of FY17, what will the volume growth be for Bajaj Auto?
Let's not finish all the topics now itself. Let's wait for a couple of more months.
Okay, we leave it at
because
that.
Honestly,
Go ahead.
Just honestly, I think you should give us the benefit of these product launches, which are very important, how they are received in the market. We should have a feel for that, and then because these things can really help us in making a correct projections going forward.
Okay, Mr. Ravikumar, we'll leave it at that. Thank